Alright, hey Fan Gang! Hope we're all having a fantastic Wednesday. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're gonna do some reading. Hey, Gran! Hope you're having a fantastic night. How you doing? Here for the exploration of the existence of meaning inside of existential annihilation. Yeah, it's a bit of a thing. Let me hop us on over. So I've been cooking a little bit. I've been cooking a little in the lab. Let me know if the background music is a little bit loud. We're gonna have some Ziz music on today. Something a little bit different, because we're doing something a little bit different. Let me chat should probably go up there tonight, so it's not blocking the text. So I guess I should just start from the beginning of this, which was probably about this time last year. Or maybe the year before. My good friend Cyrano, how you pronounce that too, whose name, he had been posting Ziz memes for a while in our private friend Discord for just the boys. And I would tend to tease him for what I viewed then as Facebook or Reddit tier normie memes about, frankly, beautiful fucking men. But I just didn't understand the game that was Ziz back then. And now I've been turned on to that we're all gonna fucking make it. Lab cooking, yes. Not Breaking Bad lab cooking. Good lab cooking. Philosophy cooking. I should also start with, I'm not philosophy brained at all. My background is IT, computers and stuff. So that's what I approach this from. To me, logical breakdown step by step building up to the case. I don't know philosophy terms. I kind of don't care about philosophy terms. I have a opinion section at the very end that addresses some of that. But anyways, about this time last year, I started turning around my opinion on Ziz and that whole movement. And I've really come to embrace just the uplifting good that, I don't want to call it an ideology, even though it kind of is, just that approach and attitude to life brings. Mostly to men, because it's mostly a male movement. I mean, honestly, I think it can go for both sexes. But that's besides the point. But since then, it's just been cooking this has been cooking in the back burner of my mind for about a year now, and it started to crystallize, I'd say around November-ish, December-ish, this past winter. Where I started getting some words for it as I started reading metaphysic and some philosophy audiobooks, if you can call it that reading. I do, because driving is my reading time these days. And for a while now, since then, the past 6 months or so, I've been pretty on board with we're all gonna make it. And I know that you're gonna make it because we're all going to make it. But I didn't quite know why. I didn't have the thought process in place to how to get from point A to point B. I was basically starting at the conclusion. That changed 2 weeks ago, I think, when one of the metaphysics book / philosophy books I had been reading, amongst many other things that are all at most tangential to this conversation that we're going to have, it called out that humans are anti-entropy machines. They reduce entropy around us. We reduce entropy around us, I should say. And that stuck with me. And since then, the past few weeks, it's been crystallizing into, I guess, what I'd call a philosophy now. Positive nihilism, yes. I think I mentioned this before in other streams that you want to go for nihilism smiley face, not nihilism frowny face. There's a very big difference. One of them is a gross misunderstanding by popular culture. Hey, Ace! We're having a good old talk with the boys tonight. How you doing? Are you doing good? Let me actually move chat to the bottom left. Let's try that. Yeah, I think that's good. Where was I? Yeah, so the past few weeks, this has been crystallizing ever since I heard the phrase that humans are anti-entropy machines. Something of that effect. And last night, I spent a few hours at work banging out the first approach of a rough draft. It wasn't complete, and I completed it today after getting some basic feedback to help narrow it down, get it more focused. You play Dark Tide with her, bro. That's great, man. You still enjoying the Arbides update? But yeah. At this point, I'm just gonna dive into this. We're gonna read through this all. I'm gonna save reading chat until the very end. Feel free to keep commenting in chat. I keep going back and forth. I want to put chat on screen. Whatever. But for a few minutes as I read through this, I'm gonna just have my eyes on the prize here, and then I'll catch up on chat at the other end. You played a private match because you're sick of full art. That's actually a very good point I didn't think about with Dark Tide, is that it's basically going to be all Arbides all the time right now. And you probably have some Ogrins in there because they just got a huge buff too, huh? But anyways, I'll see chat on the other side. We're going to get in with this. Actually, before I start, is the background music too loud or is it just quiet enough? I got it around minus 45 decibels. I don't want to have it competing with my voice on here and confusing it. Seems good? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to get started here with the philosophy of we're all going to make it. This is my first draft of what I hope is a practical modern philosophy in what I conclude is a entropic universe. All right. So part 1, introduction, starting with our objective here. I better put on my reading glasses. The purpose of this document is to prevent a functional philosophy that draws upon science and metaphysics to establish a rational, agnostic framework. The abstract, humans are an anti-entropic machine, whose collective delineation from lesser animal kingdoms is at present the novel trait of transmitting collected, organized, and stored energy forward to future generations. Through this, humanity compounds upon generational energy, creating a product greater than the sum of its individuals, underlining human nature and the meaning of our lives, which is self-actualization. Cruising along to section 2, the fundamentals, presuming a layman's understanding of modern scientific theories rooted in completing American public school. The following concepts should be familiar, still I'll go and review them, so we can, chat was covering it. Just so we can have a common understanding going forward. 1. Machines. A machine system is defined as a system that performs work by applying energy to a system to achieve change. I should edit that. I said system too many times. Do that later. Gradients. It is self-evident in nature and proven by science that... I have to edit that. Okay, it's red, so I know to change it. It is self-evident in nature and proven by science that, unless acted upon by a machine, high will inherently flow to low until system equilibrium is reached. Examples include energy in the form of heat, spreads to cold areas, saline solutions distribute salt to fresh water, and potential energy transfers into kinetic energy when an object falls from a height or a spring is released. I think spring is the iconic potential energy demonstration. Entropy is the underlying cause of gradients and appears to be an inherent quality of our universe. Specifically, here it may be defined as the inevitable dispersal of information into a uniform flat topography. That information may include energy and matter. Because of the entropic nature of the universe, there is a constant loss of information in all systems, requiring active effort to counteract entropy. Entropy is a constant at both macro and micro scales, including everything in between. However, as inherent quality of the universe, it is inevitable that all systems decay and all information is inevitably lost. This is demonstrated by the theorized heat death of the universe, in which the universe is observed to be accelerating towards as space-time inflates and distant stellar objects redshift growing farther away. In a timescale far beyond humanity, the observable universe will have all matter and energy uniformly distributed into a state of equilibrium. And our last definition is life. Known life is organic, meaning that it's primarily carbon-based and possesses biological functions. This includes, but is not limited to, animals, humans, plants, single-cell bacteria, as examples. Sentient life possesses the capacity for conscious thought. Section 3. My first observation, life is anti-entropic. If the universe is entropic, then life is inherently anti-entropic. Although entropy is inevitable, anti-entropy systems apply energy to facilitate the creation, maintenance, and reproduction of orderly systems. The result of these life processes is a temporary and relative reduction in entropy. Post-sentience. Amongst sentient life, humanity is post-sentient. This is intended as what differentiates us from the rest of sentient life found on Earth. To be post-sentient is to have the capacity to transmit information forward beyond your life, specifically critical thinking and abstractions, resulting in compounding advantages for the wider species. Other life exhibits forward transmission of information through DNA and learned behaviors, but the human capacity for retaining knowledge and skills across generations appears to be novel on Earth. A brief aside is that I believe it is chimps or some other type of monkey that has been discovered to use tools, but that is a learned behavior, not something taught forward through generations. Sentient instincts. We'll come back to this. I'm not happy with this title of this section. Our species can be loosely generalized by a scheme of needs progressing from basic survival, personal needs, to community needs as individuals mature, self-actualize, and age, or overtaken by entropy. All life exhibits basic survival needs, applying gathered energy to the local system in order to extract functional value. Post-sentient life, with its capacity for orderly systems at a scale orders of magnitude greater than base sentience, progresses through multiple extended juvenile phases it develops, slowly maturing in the process. As life is anti-entropic, it is the prerogative of the current generation of post-sentient life to act as a stepping stone for future generations, each building upon the last. In the process, entropy is reduced in the timescale of the post-sentient life, information is recursively compounded as it is transmitted forward, and value is extracted for the benefit of individuals and their groups. The resulting product is the average betterment for the group, if not the individual. However, the individual is unlikely to participate if they are not benefited or otherwise coerced. Cruising on to assertions. Humans as machines. Given the fundamentals and observations discussed, humans are anti-entropic machines. As machines, we are created to reduce entropy in our local system in accordance with the progressing scheme of needs from which we are instinctively rewarded. And now, the big questions. What is the point of life, and why are we here? Counter entropy. All forms of life, compelled by the need for their continued survival, produce a temporary reduction of entropy. This, then, must be the primary purpose of life and why we are here, for it is literally what we are engineered to do as biological post-sentient machines. Secondly, bettering oneself. Interpreting the above further, self-improvement is a secondary purpose, as the outcome of that work is the reduction of energy required to counter entropy, thereby improving human efficiency as an anti-entropic machine. Thirdly, bettering others. Furthermore, a third purpose, seemingly novel to post-sentient life, is to conduct, maintain, and protect the forward transmission of information to future generations. In this way, the efficiency of the species as a collective anti-entropic machine is improved. Conclusions. First of all, nothing matters. Given that it is a theorized predisposition of the universe to inevitably terminate, and to do so on a timescale that renders our existence negligible, nothing in life matters. This is an objective fact. This is not a negative statement echoing the popular misunderstanding of nihilism. Rather, it is a liberation. It's a revolution, bros. We're all gonna fucking make it. We are unburdened of the world. We are free to live our best lives. When nothing matters, we only have ourselves to answer to, and are left to actualize the theoretical limits of our potential. Humanity has the so far unique ability to go even farther, expanding our potential by helping those around us to realize their potential to become communities of force multipliers. And aside, it occurs to me that this section is a little bit Tolkien in how he wrote about humanity was free from the world, unlike the elves and whoever were chained to the world with their souls. End aside. Second conclusion, maximize effort. Deducing from the assertion that humans are anti-entropy machines, wasted effort increases entropy. Effort can be wasted by stagnation, where value is extracted without anything productive being done with the result of the work. This is almost always done unintentionally. However, an easy entropy trap to fall into is worrying about what they cannot change. If the point of life is to counter entropy, then it makes sense to be conscious of opportunities to capitalize upon. This is not to echo the popular misunderstanding of Stoicism. Rather, it is a call to live in accordance with your nature and deny entropy where you can, rather than where you cannot. Third and last conclusion, to err is human. You will make mistakes. It is inevitable as entropy. Even the best of us possess vices which we adhere to despite knowing better. It is part of the universe. Life inherits entropic decay, while simultaneously fighting against it for self-preservation. The best means to mitigate these inefficiencies of our organic machines is to be honest with ourselves about them, so that we recognize them and are more able to move past them. There will be more mistakes, but they do not matter. Your goals, derived from the point of life, lie far beyond and cast a long shadow over them. I know you will make it, because we're all going to make it. Now for the opinions. This is a section I went back and forth on, but we're going to go through it. Fiction has to make sense, but real life does not. This saying is echoed by science with the axiom the model is not reality. Philosophy needs to learn this. Human perception is inherently flawed, as we are physically incapable of comprehending what reality is. Rather, all we perceive is a metaphorical data stream of whatever reality truly is, being interpreted by our senses, rationalized by our mind, and acted upon by the interface of our physical body and the world around us. Given that it is impossible to know what is objectively real, a fixation on being objectively correct will only frustrate yourself and others. You may only be relatively correct. If you cannot act on a philosophy, then it is non-functional. If it does not improve yourself and others, it is impractical. If it harms life, it is dangerous. Adhere to what benefits you and yours, never be afraid to deviate in the pursuit of innovation, and to discard the non-functional, the impractical, and the harmful. It will hurt, but to achieve this, you must humble yourself and cast down the ego so that you're ready and willing to admit fault and learn from mistakes. You can learn from others, but you can never appreciate lessons until it is your skin. There is no accounting for personal agency. Only you can say yes or no to the universe. That was it. Let me scroll up chat now. Let's see. There we are. Seems good. Debuff, you went to American public school. I mean, to be fair, that's just Western public school in general. We're doing not great these days, are we? Humans as a whole are a machine. That could be argued. I'm kind of saying that you can consider humanity as a whole a machine, a collective machine. Where was that? That was somewhere around here. But that's not the main point. You can conclude that, though. Where was I? Information as energy as well. Yeah. Yeah, abstracted is the wrong word. I drew back my focus on the draft from last night that was hyper fixated on entropy and energy transmission to what I think was the detriment of this philosophy or this theory, whatever you want to call it. So I had a little thonk about it. I think reframing it to be more about information transfer rather than conflating terms, scientific terms like energy all the time, helped it out. Many physicists consider living creatures to be speeding up entropy. I went back and forth on that with myself every now and then. I flirted with that idea more in the previous version of this from yesterday. Sorry, I'm just nodding my head to the Ziz music. There was a... I think my part about that was in what became the opinion section. And also, I touched on it in maximizing effort, where I didn't directly say it. I think I meant to, but I forgot to get to it. That entropy can be a byproduct of living creatures. I don't think entropy is the main product. I don't think entropy is the intention of life. I think there's a strong argument to make, clearly, as I just made one. Not that it's strong, just that I made an argument. I think there is an argument to make about life. Primary goal is to reduce entropy by introducing ordered systems. To varying degrees. For post-sentient life like humans, it's obvious because we're ordering stuff, we're extracting value to put that into more useful forms for us. For regular sentient life like animals, they can go beyond what their ecosystem can maintain, which we can too, but we can be more conscious about it because we're capable of that self-thought or forethought. And then there's pseudo-life like viruses. Last I checked, the conclusion from the scientific community was that viruses are not life, but they go back and forth on it all the time. But viruses categorically will just reproduce until they fuck over the entire ecosystem and can't even sustain themselves. But that's kind of neither here nor there with viruses. Let's see, scrolling down chat. Numerous birds, yeah. Post-sentient life allow for non-biological life. Yes. I don't think we're anywhere close to non-biological life, but hypothetically, yes. I have no problem including, for example, sentient AI in with post-sentient life, if they are capable of that. You matter as a part of the machine of all living beings. Philosophy does seem okay with functional near immortality. Nothing annoys Ace more than the philosophers philosophizing that they don't matter or don't exist. Part of my opinion piece at the end comes from long-standing discontent with both the soft science community and philosophy communities, where I non-generously call their work navel-gazing, where they're just arguing stuff that does not fucking matter and is not useful. I more politely extracted that and massaged it into this paragraph, maximizing effort, where you should care about what you can change rather than what you can't to reduce entropy. But that's why I tried to divest the rest of the philosophy, or the whole philosophy part, from the opinion and segregate the opinions of myself out to another part, just so it's a little clear on what is and isn't part of my argument here. So somehow more relativistic, but allows for empirical morality. I had parts about morality in the version from last night. I ditched it, concluding that it was overall tangential at best and didn't really contribute anything to the argument. Because pretending like we see the world wrong or primitively is pointless. It's only the way you perceive the world. Nothing else will be as real as that. The whole perception thing comes from My Big Toe by not Randall Carson, he's a different guy. By Thomas Campbell, I think his name is. He's a nuclear physicist. He was on Joe Rogan. He has some very far out there ideas, but mixed in with those are some very legitimate, very well thought out shit, which is where I came up with the or borrowed the humans are anti-entropic machines. The part about it's impossible to know what reality really is. He mentioned that in his book that I read, but I had already known that for a bit from my hobby of astrophysics and metaphysics, mainly coming from PBS Spacetime, where they often have episodes about what is and isn't real and stuff like that. It's the issue of the effects of observation on a system. Yeah. Part of the problem with observations on reality is that every single observer is unique. And what was the phrasing on this? It came from a Spacetime episode that where two observers can empirically agree that an event happened or events happened, but they will not be able to agree in what order they happened. Part of that is because we're all our own independent observer. We all have our own, as Thomas Campbell puts it, we're our own virtual machine inside the greater subset of what is the universe. But when you break it down in space-time terms, it comes down to space-time and causality, where c, the speed of light, is actually the speed of causality. I touched on that in last night's version of this too, but I dropped that as well, I think. But yeah, this is my first draft of We're All Gonna Make It. Hopefully a functional philosophy. This is basically me externalizing my thoughts on my personal philosophy that I've been brewing for the past year and has started to crystallize in the past few months. And this is just a first draft. I'm probably gonna record an actual proper video to put on my channel at some point for this. So I'm open for anyone who's watching the VOD or watching now. Go ahead and leave a comment for any anything you disagreed with, any jumps in logic or errors you think you saw, or that you saw that I made. Get my words mixed up. And I'll take them into account. Another issue is in some observations, you cannot remove yourself from the system where the experiment is happening. I'm sure that matters, but I'm not familiar with why. Can you explain why that matters? My best guess is that that has to do with quantum scenarios where to observe a particle disturbs it and changes the outcome. Is that what you're talking about? Did I play Planescape Torment? I did. I played that not when it was new. I played that after the fact. I think in the mid 2000s, mid noughts, because I remember playing it on one of those game streaming services, one of the first ones, way back then. It was around when the Duke Nukem game came out, because I played that on the streaming service as well, and it was god awful. I remember it was funny too, because when I looked at the when you look at the games on that streaming service back in the day, I forget the name of it, whatever it was, but it would show like a carousel slideshow of the views of other people who were streaming the game and playing it were doing, and everyone was just in the strip club level getting a lap dance. It has a lot to do with microphysics. The same role as the sensates. I'm not familiar with... Oh, the sensates from Planescape Torment. It took me a second to recognize the term. I don't remember who the sensates are. They believed if they couldn't feel, hear, taste, smell, or otherwise sense something, it didn't exist. To them, it couldn't. I mean... for all functional purposes, unless they're interacted with, they may as well not exist, right? I mean, that's getting to navel-gazing philosophy parts, but yeah. How do they square time? Uh, how does who square time? I'm trying to think back to when that came up. Are you talking about the causality stuff I mentioned? It was almost anti-navel gazing because they wouldn't concern themselves with things outside comprehension. It is a funny idea for, excuse me, a fantasy setting. Oh, the sensates. Well, strictly speaking, there is no such thing as time. Time is an arbitrary framework that we project onto whatever reality is. The same with the 3 dimensions and grids and stuff like that. Time objectively doesn't exist. It just is. Because if you get down into the astrophysics or metaphysics of it, reality is tenseless. The current theory, to my understanding, is that in the whateverness of reality, everything exists as abstract world lines or something to that effect, where we and everything else has no tense. It is past, present, and future all at the same time. And our reality that we perceive as time is just our little frames per second view of it. And my best interpretation of that is that's just how biological life on Earth has evolved to interpret whatever reality is. It's like how in life the best results always or tend to come from when you're constrained, when you have impositions put on yourself. So carrying that over to the perception of time and why biological life acquired it rather than evolving and viewing reality as tenseless. Evolving to have a perception of time allows us to, in my opinion, just an opinion, because I haven't thought this through, I'm coming up with this live, allows life to combat entropy. Because if you're tenseless, it's harder, I would presume, to pick out a specific moment or specific thing to interact with. Time does exist to us, though. Entropy would validate time. I don't think it would, but this is getting rapidly away from my knowledge base. Again, I'm not a physics kid. I just enjoy PBS space-time a little bit too much. And I listen to a lot of audiobooks because I have a disgustingly long commute to work and back. But I don't think entropy would validate time. Because being tenseless means that the change does exist because there is the past, present, and future. It's just perceived as one simultaneous entity. Pseudo-entity. I don't know. Or sensate monks that want to put their fists in people's faces to prove they exist? I don't remember that. There has to be a better way to do this. I don't know, I'm just gonna leave that. It's good enough. Time is the measure of cause and effects. I believe so, yes. Because that goes back to how the constant c is actually the speed of causality. And the reason why you can't go faster than the speed of light is because that means you're going faster than reality can react to you. Something to that effect. It's been a while since I thought about that side of things. That's one of those PBS space-time subjects that I had to watch like 5 times to start piecing together the parts. There was a hedonism angle to the sensates, though they didn't primarily focus on it. It's been a while since I even thought of Planescape Torment, even though it's a classic. I enjoyed it, but I didn't play it in its heyday. I played it after the fact. It was good. If YouTube was more generous and the copyright system less shitty, I would just pull up the space-time video that I'm thinking of that talks about cause and effect and stuff like that. And we can just watch it. But I think, rather than dragging this out, this is going to be a shorter stream. This is going to be quick and to the point about the philosophy stuff. Any other questions and stuff you guys want to chat about? Ending early also gives me a chance to get on my damn bike machine for once in a while. I hate bike machines. They make my dick fall asleep, and I hate it. That's too much information, but I know I'm not the only guy who fucking despises bike machines because of it. And I hate that they're the most cost-effective and space-efficient exercise machine out there. I hate bike machines. Well, if you want to stay in the physical universe of moving, you can break C with... yeah. I'm not going to get into FTL because that's basically cheating. The house always wins with entropy, but post-sentient life can cheat if they're clever enough, hopefully. Anyways, I'm going to go and call it a night there. And it was a fantastic rest of your night. Tomorrow, we're going to get back to probably Honkai. Yeah, more regular stream. This was just something that I've been cooking up in a while. I wanted to externalize. Should be able to stream another YouTube video, you're reacting. That's true. I don't know. I don't really want to react. I feel weird doing it. Yeah, I wrote all this. I hammered this out in the past 2 days. It has my name on it, see? Powerlines. Title. We're all gonna make it. Written. Technically... today. The 2nd. Not the 3rd. But whatever. No, it's fine. You can just miss my views. It's like, let's see, where was it? Down here? Where the fuck was it? Yeah. If this helps you, take it. If it doesn't help you, then hell. Just miss it. You're probably doing fine on your own. This is just my opinions that I wanted to put out there. Because it was a crystallization of my personal philosophy that's been coming together over the past year. Since I got turned on to the Ziz stuff. But anyways, I hope everyone has a fantastic Thursday. Enjoy your 4th of July's Eve if you're American. If you're a burger. And we're all going to make it to tomorrow, 1:40 a.m. Eastern. We'll probably stream more Honkai. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Every little bit helps a little guy like me. And take care, everyone. See you tomorrow.